Hey guys, hope everybody's having a good meeting. Joe and John and I can't be there tonight, but it's definitely time to go ahead and pitch DaVita Cell. We've been waiting to do it for a while, so we're going to go ahead and do it. We're on DaVita. It is a company that works in kidney dialysis, and our holding is right around $2,500 at the moment. So it holds 37% of the domestic dialysis market that is in the United States, and they treat about 200,000 patients annually. So with the market in general, if you need kidney dialysis, you pretty much need it either until death or until you get a transplant. So they're going to get it somewhere, 37% chance they do it with us. So economies of scale in this particular industry have developed to be able to meet customers' needs in a cost-effective way. There's also a certain amount of necessary bargaining power because Medicare and Medicaid only pay a fixed amount for these services, usually between $220 to $260. So you have to be able to get unit costs down in order to make any sort of profit in the industry. DaVita is a massive company. It's number 188 on the Fortune 5, and Warren Buffett has a large ownership stake, which ordinarily we'd like. But there are a lot of other problems with this particular company. I would talk a little bit about the structure. Pretty grueling, really, dialysis, if you're not super familiar with it. But all of the profit for these companies tends to come from commercial insurers. Because Medicare and Medicaid offer reimbursement at cost or at a loss, the market pricing power of the big three companies in the United States has basically allowed them to force commercial insurers to pay through the nose in order to make any sort of profit. A little bit about how that maths. DaVita loses money on almost 90% of their transactions because they're covered through Medicare or Medicaid, and the commercial insurers provide the float. And because these patients tend to go off plan to Medicare or Medicaid within 2 to 3 years of their diagnosis, kind of deal with it. 200,000 individuals off 330 million in the United States isn't huge. So to recap our thesis really briefly, we like investing in large companies we understand with a stable dividend history, purchased at a significant margin of safety, and we no longer think that DaVita meets these requirements. So to talk a little bit about Benjamin Graham, he's a big financial analysis guy, and one of the formulas he came up with for valuation is pictured on the slide. Not going to walk through it a ton. The basic idea is that DaVita makes quite a bit of revenue but doesn't really have much in the way of tangible earnings or free cash flow. So if we were to value it using his formula, which works really well for industrials, a little less well for newer high growth and tech stocks, we'd see that we're paying through the nose for this, and it's really not worth much of anything. So here's some of the comped financial data from Morningstar. The big thing for us is if you look there, we've got the return on invested capital of 3.48%, which is really, really, really low. A lot of analysts have a risk-free rate higher in their discounted cash flow model, which I'm sure we'll go over later in the semester. But basically where you can purchase a government bond from the United States and receive a better return than that. Obviously not true right now, but in the models it is. Income and diluted earnings per share over 3 years are significant and negative, and we'll see that here through the income statement over time. You can see revenues actually declined since fiscal year 2014. And the margins are shrinking, so we're just not super comfortable with this company and its ability to generate future cash flow or free cash flow into the future. To summarize some of those things, very low ROIC, not super cheap when you look at things like price earnings or price earnings growth, and decreased earnings year over year. Also, Medicare for all would really be crippling, given that the profit margins are all from the commercial insurance industry. And then we see poor management as well, really bad acquisition in 2012 that they only recently divested. So then as a final thought, if you needed to be convinced more, they've recently been involved in an insurance fraud lawsuit where Blue Cross Blue Shield basically said that they encourage patients to move off of Medicare and Medicaid, which is cheaper for them, onto commercial insurance plans to maximize DaVita profits. And this was subsidized by the American Kidney Foundation, for which DaVita is a major donor. So, it's in process right now. We don't necessarily know, but ethical investing does have to be a consideration as well. So that's our sell pitch on DaVita. If you guys have any questions, just kidding. Leave a message after the beat. Thanks. Take care.